Call to order Blackwell City Council this evening and welcome everybody. If you will stand with us, Cap. He'll lead us in prayer. Richard will lead us in flag salute.
Got scripture and then prayer, that's all right.
That works.
And then I gotta go. In Psalms chapter 2, it says, "Therefore, you kings, be wise, be warned, you rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and celebrate his rule with trembling." In Proverbs, we read, "For lack of guidance, a nation or town falls, but victory is won through many advisors." And in 1 Timothy chapter 2, we find, "I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made for all peoples, and for kings and all those in authority, that we may live peacefully and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness." Now let us pray. Oh, Heavenly Father, we call upon you this evening in the name of your mighty Son, Jesus. We pray for our city manager, for our mayor, for our city council, and for all of our city officials this night and every night when we come together to discuss and decide on issues pertaining to Blackwell. We ask of you, mighty Father, to fill this room with your Holy Spirit, a spirit of grace and mercy, a spirit of truth and healing, a spirit of strength and love. Help us seek your wisdom and not ours. Help us to seek your truth and not ours. Help us to seek your will for our community and not ours. Give us the strength to strip us of our pride and of our ego. Let our behavior tonight and to each other demonstrate our love for each other and your love for us. Where judgment would be called for, let grace be given. Where pride once stood, humility now stands. And where there is anger, let it be replaced by love. For there is not one of us that is righteous in your eyes, not a one. And where we find fault, give us the wisdom to see, but by the grace of God, there goes I. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Cap.
Good luck.
First item on our agenda is the special presentation recognition this evening. Do we have anyone to do? With there being none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I had a couple of questions on
Yes, the requisition register items.
here right now.
Just, yeah, we'll put it on to 7. Okay, so which, you have a couple.
There was payments to Sober Brothers and Evans. I just wanted to know if they were, we'll love that.
Tracy, if you could answer a question on payments to Sober Brothers and Evans, at number 7, though, hold that for just a second.
Okay, so we'll be actually on item 5, we can further the consent agenda as is with removal of those items. We will want a motion, we need a motion and a price.
Well, yeah, I'm motion to balance unless you have other items to pull.
Okay.
There's a motion to say,
No.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the 2 items that were.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Mary?
Greenwood,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
O'Neill,
Aye.
Markland.
Now, item 7 will be discussion on those 2 items that were removed from the consent agenda.
Tracy, would you come to the microphone so that we can hear?
I don't have,
Sure.
yeah, somebody has a packet I can look
Did
at.
you get it? I mean, there was, the Evans was like $5,300.
That was for asphalt. That was for the whole month.
to the homeowner. And Sober Brothers just more
Pay for
material.
rock and sand.
Okay. There were some of the bigger items that just want to verify.
And we're still working on how to clarify all of that, so maybe if there's a way we can have a description on that, you know, for the month or whatever, we'll work to do that. Thank you.
Any action?
And I make a motion to approve those two items.
I'll second that as well.
Mary?
Greenfield,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
Lillian,
Aye.
Marker.
Aye.
Moving on to reports. Item A is going to be Bank First Blackwell Public Trust accounts.
Okay, these are in your packet, and what they show are the allocations of the interest that is given to the general fund for sewer, water, streets, community enhancement, capital improvements, and private projects. And I'd just like to have these in here for you every month so that you know how much is coming into each of those categories. So I just submit that as for your information.
Any questions on those items? If there's none, we'll move on. Any guesses?
No, no question.
Steve?
No, no question.
Thank you. Item B is going to be the treasurer's report.
Hi guys. So for the first time in the 10 plus years that I've done this, I was at Okeen the other night. I didn't have my laptop, I was looking at financials off of my phone.
Excuse me a minute. Meredith, would you get up to the mic
Sure.
and talk so everyone can hear?
Sure.
Thank you.
So as I was saying, I was at Okeen for the first time in the multiple years that I've been doing this. I was working off of my phone because I didn't have my laptop, and my husband was coming home from a flight. He kept FaceTiming me as I was giving a presentation on financials. Anyway, it was comical. He did it 6 times before I finally answered in front of the council. So hopefully that won't happen tonight because he is coming in tonight. So let's get through these financials. You've got February in front of you right now. And total unrestricted cash for the city, $2.3 million. And we're down, operating cash-wise, about 3% from where we were this time last month. Our overall cash is up about 3% when we compare out. And our total cash is at $8.7 million. And as Janet had alluded to earlier, our 2015 bond proceeds as listed here, we went down about another $10,000 from where she had reported a couple of weeks ago, just based upon those last polls. So, and about $893,000 for your 2015 bond as of right now. Questions on cash? All right. General fund. When we look at general fund itself, we should be at about 67% of budget, and that's kind of our benchmark for right now. And total operating income, once we take into account transfers, we're at $1.3 million. That includes about a $3 million transfer. That's all the cash that we've had to move over as a result of, you know that the general fund does not make money, that we have to use our BMA in order to support it. So that's the amount of money that's come over to the general fund in order to keep our cash flush. And overall, sales tax trending very strong, other taxes strong as well. When we look specifically at what happened during the month, police revenues looked really good this month. So for all of the citizens that got tickets, sorry, but we appreciate it on our general fund side. And that was really all the highlights. All departments stayed pretty much in line with their budgeted expenses. Questions? Okay, flipping to BMA, our moneymaker. Money-making itself looks really good through our operations, electric, water, sewer, and trash. $2.1 million that we're making off of operations right now. Every department other than our sewer department showing a profit. We know that our sewer department has capital outlay needs that are included in those dollars right now. And once we take into account the transfer out and our administration expenses that we just talked about, we're at a loss of $2.1 million for the year. Anything there? I will say that the electric revenues this month, normally we like to see something around 8%. That would be a perfect allocation of revenues. They were around 5% this month. Pretty standard, right? The seasonality of what's going on right now. And people are not running their air conditioners. It's been freezing. So pretty standard right now to see a dip. Hopefully we will see that come back. And then your last report is the Blackwell Public Trust. It's a summary of the information that Janet provided you, but it gives you the total year-to-date February allocation between both Bank First and Atlantic Trust by project type, and what we've pulled out of it year-to-date with a net allocation of $533,000 available. Questions?
Meredith, was the $533,000 just from Bank First?
No, ma'am. No, it's combined. It's combined and it's year-to-date.
Any other questions for the reports? Being no more questions, we'll move on to business. Item A is discussion of possible action to approve the resolution for the application to the CDBG grant for the water line replacement. We're just looking for a motion on this item.
I'll make that motion. Second it.
Mary?
Greenfield,
Aye.
Brayden,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
Bulliel,
Aye.
Marco.
Aye.
Moving on to item B, discussion of possible action to adopt the citizen participation plan.
I'll make that motion.
What is it?
It is, Jennifer, you want
Sure. So it is a standard plan as part of the grant. The grant is to benefit low and moderate income citizens, and so it's just saying that you're going to make sure that you make any information available to them, that you're not going to discriminate against anybody, and that we're going to follow the guidelines that the grant tells us to follow. If there's complaints about the project, if you get funded, then you're going to listen to those complaints and reply like in 15 days. But it's a standard kind of template that they have us fill out for the grant.
So if somebody had a complaint, they would direct that to who?
To this council.
Thank you.
Good information for the public. Okay. We would be looking for a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mary?
Greenfield,
Aye.
Brayden,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
Bulliel,
Aye.
Markworth.
Aye.
Item C is discussion of possible action to approve the mayor to sign the leverage verification form and resolution for the CDBG grant application.
And what is that?
this? I'm glad you're here.
It's
Good
a
information.
Yeah, it's a standard form. The leverage form is the amount that the city is going to put in towards the grant. Since we're not asking, the max you can ask for in this grant is $450,000. Your project cost is above that, so you as a city are putting in those local dollars.
And the total on that is $680,060. And that's what we're gonna use as leverage. That includes our $450,000 for matching, and then the amount above that that we've allocated for the project.
We're allocating that amount out of the 2015.
The resolution is just, it's your financial support saying that, you know, we are definitely putting that money towards the grant.
If we do that, our present water line projects are coming out of that, correct?
We have left back other dollars, you know, that amount between that $680,000 and then the
900 is easy to say.
900,000, that's what we have to work with right now. We've left ourselves some money to be able to continue projects.
Yeah, and Jim had cut back some projects, correct, because he included into the grant.
Yes, right. Just need a motion.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
Mary?
Greenfield,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
O'Leal,
Aye.
Markman.
Aye.
Item D is discussion and possible action to approve the mayor to sign all documents associated with the application to the CDBG grant, W-9 form, Section 102 form, department form.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
Mary?
Greenfield,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
O'Leal,
Aye.
Markman.
Aye.
Item E is approval of Loftus and Wetzel as insurance broker for 2019-2020.
Okay, I was wondering if they're going to be our insurance broker on record, how do you handle with the, you have to go out for bids for the insurance, so how do you handle the bids in that situation?
Tracy, would you like to answer that? You'll come to the microphone.
They're our broker on record, but they go out to the other companies and they'll, like for our health insurance, they'll go out to Blue Cross Blue Shield, possibly a self-funded group, and they'll get those quotes for us and then bring back and let us choose among those.
But that says though that they're going to be the agents, they're going to be the ones that get the money for,
They're just the broker on record. They do the legwork, basically. And I believe there is a fee, but as they're a professional service. But they carry our liability insurance for our buildings and our property, our vehicle insurance, and as well as our,
but they put it all out for bid.
yes.
Well, then do they decide who gets the bid?
No, we come back and we present it to the council, and the council decides which bid they want to go with.
Okay,
But they prepare anywhere from 3 to 5 quotes so that we can have some options.
okay.
Typically, it's always been, reviewed by Tracy and other members of the staff, and then is brought to the council discussion during budget, at our budget hearings. So there's involvement in picking, lowest best
Lowest best.
policy.
Like, we will start here pretty quick, taking a look at that, and they'll bring a whole bunch of information, and then we'll start funneling it down. And we will take the best bid, but council gets to choose which one that is, and we'll present usually 3 options for them.
Okay, look, answer me this. When you do it that way, they just charge a fee for doing all that? What if they don't find an insurance agent or company that is cheaper than what they are? Do they still go ahead and write the insurance? They automatically handle all of our insurance business?
Just as the broker. It's not actually, like our, do what?
They're not underwriters.
They're not the underwriters. They're not the underwriters of the
that.
insurance. They're just the broker that finds the company that we would use.
Okay, so if they give you 3 bids and they're not in those 3 bids, they're out as far as writing that policy?
They're not making the bid for the insurance. They're proposing which company we would use. But it's not actually Loftus Wetzel Insurance Company. It would be with, like our liability insurance, I believe is through OMAS. And, but they would bring 3 different companies to give quotes. But they're just the broker. They oversee all of they're the facilitator. They have all the paperwork, they get all of the quotes, but they just get a broker fee.
So they get a professional services fee?
How much is their professional service fee?
Well, that comes out of our insurance premium. Once we decide, once the council makes their decision on what company we're going with, then that company works that out with the broker. We don't have anything to do with that. It's a preset thing that is just part of the package. And so, we're not paying them directly. It just comes out of the whole package.
Okay.
It probably varies depending on
Yes.
which
Which
group
company,
that's big.
Exactly.
Yes.
And they would be paying someone.
Yes, they're gonna pay someone for being the broker.
being the broker.
And so we
Right.
just use this firm because they're local.
That is right. OMAG is optional, so
Oh, like you don't have to pay a broker fee.
we do not have.
Mary, I know you're saying something really important.
I'm sorry.
I want to know, but I can't hear you.
And
She's saying
it is very important. No, I was just saying that OMAG, you do not have to pay a broker's fee.
Right. But they cover our property and vehicles and all of that, but that's separate from what we're talking about tonight, so we
And
will
we
get
had,
into that.
and we had the discussion at length last year, if you remember, and I took the other side of that, and you all decided that I was full of mud, and because they do provide services for the community, but that was kind of an extended discussion last time, and it was on that OMAG, deal, but I mean, I suppose you can talk about it again, but you talked about it at length last year. That was my memory.
But they prepare all of the documents to make sure that they keep us in compliance, to make sure that we are using the
I'm just wondering, it sounds like they automatically are going to get the business, and nobody else has a chance to go at it, and that's against the rules, according to the charter.
Last year, we actually had a company present to us from out of Edmond that was not.
yeah, we do let others come in
Yes.
and make presentments. That's what, later on down, you'll see the request for proposal. That's kind of, maybe should have been, maybe we should have done it, because if we do open this up and we say, we're looking for this type of insurance, we're getting ready to go out for health, dental, and vision for our employees. So we will let other brokerage firms come in and pitch those items as well. Because the plan that we went with for this year's health insurance was actually presented by, the same plan was presented by two different brokers. And we went with the local one that had a cheaper fee, which happened to be Loftus. But we will review that every year.
Well, I had a strange thing happen on insurance. My daughter and I went into a little Mexican restaurant in Oklahoma City, and this lady and her husband came to sit down right beside us, and I says, man, I wish I'd got what you're eating, because it looks so much better than what I've got. And she said, oh, I deserve a good meal. She said, I've just spent 2 days down at Blackwell, Oklahoma, trying to make a bid on insurance, and she said it was practically impossible to do. She says, I wasted my time. She said, Loftus showed up, and that was the end of the game. So, I just wondered if that happens more times than that one.
No, we would let them, they get to come in and present their presentation during the budget hearings, or with the budget work sessions.
Work sessions, yeah.
It's called work sessions. But during that time, we bring those who have made proposals, we let them come in and present to the council their best pitch. And so,
She never appeared before the council. She didn't get that far, I didn't think.
I don't recall, do you remember when it was? Because we're just now getting ready to go out for
6 months ago or so? A year?
Maybe a year ago?
Not quite a year.
I don't recall, but, we've always if anybody that was here to make a proposal, they've been able to come in before the council. We schedule them to come in and meet with these guys and pitch their best plan. Now, I can't answer on what we do with liability
And
or anything.
that's good that you brought that up, because this question, we have to send a letter that will go for OMAG, for the liability. That's what we're doing right now. That's what this is for, not health
Not
insurance.
health insurance.
They
So,
have to renew right now, and if we're going to go with them, we have to get that letter out, because it's just that time of year.
And this is for the OMAG insurance?
This is
This is
for-
not health?
This is not health. This is
Okay.
for the OMAG.
Okay, it
insurance.
didn't
This is
specify
for-
on here.
Mary, I don't have it right in front of me, but you pay Loftus $20-some thousand a month, every month. What's that for?
Well, it's not every month, but we have different insurances that come through. Exactly what you're talking about, I would have to look. I'm the worst one to pull numbers out of my head, so I don't want to misquote.
If you want to come and we'll sit down with Tracy and Mary, we'll go over all of this, so that we can answer all of your questions, and we'll have it in front of us so we'll know
Okay.
exactly what you're talking about.
Sounds good.
Yeah, just give me a call, I'll be
Okay.
happy to do that. Okay, so this is for our OMAG, insurance. Item E is not health insurance, that's further down on G. So E, this is just to use Loftus and Wetzel as our insurance broker. They're our intermediary between the city and OMAG, and that's all that we're asking your approval for.
Council questions?
And I am not sure if there's a fee that we pay
There
for this.
absolutely is a fee that
Okay,
we
on
pay
this
for
one there is, and so how much is that?
Again, I'm the worst person to ask. I'm
Tracy,
off the cuff.
do you know?
It's
Okay.
I think last year was $12,000.
I was gonna say,
It could be more, but that's what.
if we're not sure,
And-
then why don't we find out
Yeah, and
before we approve?
I would agree with that. This was not my item. So we do need to find out. I believe that there is a fee associated with this now that I know what it is. I have asked that question before. And it is the council's choice as to whether to approve them as the broker. We do not have to have a broker. The city does not have to have a broker to go, to have our insurance with OMAG. I think this has just been historically the way that it has been done in Blackwell, but that does not mean that the council has to continue that. So you certainly do not have to approve this.
Well, it was a year ago that there was, I think as Bryce said, quite some discussion about it, and the reasons in which we chose Loftus Wetzel, I think it was more, it wasn't a dollar amount that reason that we decided, it was, I think it was and I, to be honest, I can't remember now, but it seems as though there was reasons that Loftus and Wetzel would stand, would be helpful to the city.
Yeah, it was a long.
Okay, it wasn't simply saying we're picking the cheapest broker, because there was another one that, but, you know, probably two things. One, he is local, but two, it was what benefits would we have choosing Loftus and Wetzel?
What were those benefits, John?
I'm honest, that I don't remember. Should we have that discussion again and have Mike here?
You know, I have never had a broker in any other city that I've been city manager of. It is not a normal thing because OMAG is so easy to get in touch with. We know exactly who to contact for anything that we need. I call them pretty frequently, at least once a week or more on occasion. And the broker is, as I said, it's optional. Apparently it's been done here in the past, but we certainly don't need a broker for that, for our policies. And this really is just, if there is the fee associated with it, then that does come out of our budget. And, you know, at this point, we are trying to cut our budget every way that we can. So you might consider that aspect.
To consider it, I would like for Mike to be here again and present what he did last year.
I remember
To see.
the staff that gave us the recommendation to approve it last year based on the value of the service they received from a local broker. That's what I remember about it, and it was a lengthy discussion about it, that we all discussed it. So that was what came out of it. The cost wasn't as much considered as the value of the service to contact, to help with employees. But,
That was the
again,
city manager. Mary just told me that it was Chip that gave that report last year, that it was helpful to him. And so it was helpful to Chip.
Well, can we table this and maybe have more discussion on it? What we actually need to do? Or is there a time period?
I don't know, there is a time crunch. I don't know exactly how many days or whatever they have, but this is just their renewal time, and so before they can go as our broker of record, we have to send a letter to
I'm pretty sure that we're okay on timing. We're, you know, barely at the, into March. And, you know, their fiscal year is just like ours. It starts July 1, goes to June 30. So we've got time to check on this.
Yeah, it
It's
shouldn't-
it's not gonna
it shouldn't
affect
be a
our
problem.
policies
It
or
shouldn't be a
anything.
problem.
So we can schedule to have Mike or any other broker make a presentation at the next meeting?
We could.
Or would you rather, or maybe meet with him, where he can tell you what
Yeah.
benefit he might be able to, for that meeting?
Well,
I think it's reasonable to talk to him, and he may,
Yeah.
this is.
What's our action?
So make a-
Do you want to?
Table it and maybe direct Janet to do some research with OMAG to find out what direction we actually need to go.
Is there a second?
Second.
Steve? Mary?
Greenfield,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
Bullion,
Aye.
Markler.
Aye.
Okay, moving on, item F, discussion on dates for city budget planning meetings. We'll have
Okay. Meredith has to.
Janet and I spoke just a little bit before the council meeting, and our idea was to potentially do it on the day of a council meeting, come early, kind of do our work sessions. You all remember that these work sessions are not required. It's not part of the Oklahoma Municipal Budget Act, it's not required, but we do it as financial transparency, which is something that has been near and dear to Janet's heart when she came in here. So looking to continue that, which we've done in the past, I would suggest that we look at maybe that first meeting in May. Come for the day. I think Mary's got us barbecue before, whatever, so we can have, start about 10 and then work through the day, have lunch.
One thing I remember about meetings last year, I think we had decided we wanted more than just the one or two that we had.
Okay.
We wanted opportunity for that. I believe some of the guys, I believe there was some discussion that, you know, would like more time and more discussion. More chance to look at it.
Would you like to start then in April, or would you like to meet more often in May? How does your all schedule look?
My time's flexible.
We might be able to do the second meeting in April. I mean, we're less than, 4 weeks out, you know, from that. We could potentially, let's plan for the second meeting in April, and we will work towards that.
We had 2 meetings last year, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I believe the discussion was, should be open to possibly have a third one.
We had 2 meetings and then we had the public hearing, so,
No,
Prior to this.
yes.
prior to that. Am I wrong? I do remember there
Yeah,
was
we-
discussion thinking that some guys felt rushed. So,
Well, I don't know, when the department heads get their budget, she should start working on when they turn them in. You know,
We're working on those now, and so I propose that we do the second meeting in April and the first meeting in May on those days. And then if you feel like that you haven't had enough information, then we can come back, you know, another time.
So we just have to have it approved by June 1st, is that correct? or-
No, 7 days before the beginning of the fiscal year, which is the 23rd.
So we
But
still
we
have
won't
time
have to
for a
have a
special
formal
meeting.
presentation. We will have to have a formal presentation on the minutes in the record by June 1st. But if we have a meeting before that, it can be considered
Okay.
an initial.
April 18th and May 2nd.
Yes. Both at 10 a.m.?
That works for me.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Mary?
Yay.
Greenfield,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
Bullion,
Aye.
Markler.
Aye.
Moving on to item G, permission for RFP for insurance, health, dental, vision, and life.
Okay, and that will be sending out a request for proposal from many different companies, you know, for our insurance. And so we just need the council to give us permission to do that.
Littlefield,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
Khalil,
Aye.
Markwart.
Aye.
Item H, discussion of the town hall meeting Monday, March 25th at 6 PM at the event center. Topics to include the proposed to increase the hotel motel tax from 6% to 8% and provide for an additional proposed for the use of the tax proceeds and discussion of a proposed 25-year extension of current medical health sales tax of 1% for Blackwell Hospital.
So I put this agenda item on here, so that we could make sure that the public knows that next Monday evening, 6 PM, we will be at the event center at the fairgrounds. And, just go back to my very first day here, that evening, the town hall meeting that we had there, to discuss the hospital tax, and we'll be doing the same thing that evening. And so just wanted to, open this for, is there any questions that, maybe the council are hearing around the community that they'd like to address from the podium?
One of the things that I'm hearing is that we needed to explain better the 6% to 8% as far as the hotel motel tax. And as I'm reading this, the other piece to the hospital is that just calling it a sales tax is, in my opinion, not correct. What it is an extension of the current sales tax, which I think should be worded that way. Anyone have any questions about that? We're not gonna get a new tax. It's explicitly extending the tax currently for the hospital. The hotel motel tax, yes, sir.
Is that just to put a new front on it, make it look pretty? Because all that thing is to me is a bandage station.
Pardon me?
I said, that hospital's nothing to me but a bandage station. If I need something, I go to Ponca City. Because half the stuff that I've got that needed over here, they don't have. Instead of spending a couple $1 million replacing the front end, making it look pretty, why don't you buy some new equipment? That would be really good.
What?
The only thing I'm seeing is around the corner here, they're wanting to put the taxes to put a new front end on that building, right? Why spend the money on the front end of it? Why don't you put something in it instead? That's what I'm not understanding.
I think that's what they're doing. I think that's part of the
They're gonna put new
program.
equipment
Yes.
and stuff into?
Yeah, there's
Well, I'm just getting into this, I've only been here for a few years, and everything that I've talked to, the people I've talked to are like me, why put a false front on a building instead of putting the money into the building? They're putting it into equipment,
They're going,
pay the doctors, this stuff.
It's gonna be a complete renovation, and actually, there are gonna be two, I just took a tour of the hospital today, with Stephen Taylor, the CEO of Stillwater Medical Center, and, he walked me around the entire facility, and the emergency room was built in 2012, so it's a new facility, and
Well,
it
I've
will,
been in it.
okay, yeah, it's really nice,
But I'm
and
just saying,
so
why not
that
put the
will
money,
stay.
why not put the money into new equipment?
Well, hang on, I'm getting there.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so the emergency room will stay, and, but then the oldest part, the original part of the hospital, that's gonna go away. There's one wing of it that is a newer wing that will stay, but the old part of it, that's gonna have to be completely demolished, because we're looking at a building that was built in 1960. It's inadequate for what we want to do today. Now, what we're looking at is almost a $13 million expense for the new hospital that we will build. We've got 49 rooms right now. We don't need that many. And what the number that they've come up with is 5 hospital rooms with the ability to expand to 10 if we need that. I asked, how did you come up with that number 5? Because it really seems inadequate. And he said, that is the maximum number that they have had to use, except in in an event that would happen. Typically, they use 4 of the rooms, and that's it. So there's no need, and there are no surgical procedures that are done there. You know, right now, we've got the entire third floor, I believe it is, that's the surgical. It is not being utilized at all. And so we'll do away with that. And what they're trying to accomplish here is greater efficiency by making it smaller, more compact, so that the individuals who are working at the hospital, they will have a smaller area to get around in. There'll be, you know, a greater responsibility, really, of duties, you know, that you know, we'll have a receptionist area that can be shared by the hospital, but also by the physicians. We will have an area there that the clinics will move into. And so we will really utilize the facility in a much greater way. And so it's not a facelift, it is keeping two aspects of it, but then the bridge in the middle is what we're gonna be replacing. And, you know, so it'll take a little bit of work to make sure that we've got enough open that we're still able to handle all of the patients and things like that. I believe we see 25 patients a day, is what I was told. So we get a lot more use, and they've continued to tell me this, so I will say it to you all, that our hospital gets much more use than the Perry facility. That they have 5 to 7 patients every day in the Perry facility that Stillwater Medical runs, and we have 25 at least every day. So, you know, they're very positive about coming into our community, continuing the work here with us, partnering with us, and I think, you know, from what I've seen, we've got a good plan going forward with, you know, making it what we actually need it to be. And then, of course, you know, the city, our job is to come up with the financing for it. And, you know, so Bryce has worked on it longer than I have, but I've stepped into it in the last couple of months that I've been here and had lots of meetings on the financial aspect of it. And it's looking better and better as we go along. But a huge piece of this is going to be the approval of this extension for that sales tax.
Okay, I was never privy to most of this stuff here, because this is the first meeting I've ever been
Right.
to.
And
So
that's
I'm
why we
asking
put it
questions I
on,
don't
that's
know.
why we put it on here tonight, was so that we could share that. And do you, Mayor, have anything, or
I
Bryce?
would
Well,
just like to, Phil, I mean.
Yeah, I would think it's quite simple. You know, if it doesn't pass, the hospital's unlikely to stay open longer than, we just think, 2 years. So, I mean, you know, that hospital that's been open, you know, almost as long as I've been alive, or as long as I've been alive, will be closed in Blackwell.
So,
And-
well, my wing's been open longer than I've been alive.
And that's the simple of it. Okay, the other issue is that right now we're using Blackwell resources to operate. And if this passes and we get this built, Stillwater's gonna be operating it. They're the ones gonna be charged with the nudge. They're gonna be charged with the, even if it loses money, then they lose money. And, you know, and that's one of the problems with hospitals right now. And a lot of it is because of free charity care. That you got everybody that walks in, you've got to deal with. And, you know, in this community, there's a lot of folks that need that may not have the money.
Well, sure, I'm one of them.
Right, and right now, Blackwell has to pay that freight. Well, the city does. It's your money. It's not somebody else's money, it's this community's money. And if this passes, Stillwater's signing an agreement that they're not just gonna manage it, but they're gonna operate it. They're gonna be in charge of that. Now, the way we're setting it up, it's gonna be with the rural health clinic, where you're able to build hospital charges at cost, which we can't do right now, because we're too close to the Ponca City Hospital. If we could bill costs, at cost, our procedures right now, we wouldn't be in this position, okay? But we cannot, okay? We will be able to do that once we have this set up, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, we clearly believe that it's going to, that it's going to be able to continue. And you're gonna have, you know, I don't know, the most modern hospital, nicest, newest hospital in the state that I know of.
I'd
You
be
know,
up for that in a second.
and you're gonna be able to do it without a new tax. You're just gonna keep paying what you have been paying. So, I mean, what? You get a new hospital, you keep paying what you're paying, it's nothing new. You're no longer liable for the nut, you're no longer liable for the loss. You keep offering charity care to folks in town, and you can do what the folks did 60 years ago, right now, and move ahead, you know, in decades in healthcare in this community. This is this is an easy yes, I would say. I don't live here, but this would be an easy yes, as far as I'm concerned.
I believe we're just one of many cities that help finance their hospitals through a tax. We're not unique there at all. There's a lot of cities that do that help keep them open.
I come from a little bitty town in Kansas that, is about half the size of this. Our actual hospital is 13 miles down the road.
Yeah. Well, if you have other,
Fly.
if you have other questions or concerns, attend the town hall meeting. That's what we're having. You have opportunity to.
Like I said, I didn't know
If you
anything.
forgot to ask something, well, you can ask it there.
I think I'd like to touch base real quick on something the city manager had talked about, was the efficiency of the current hospital. The old part of the hospital, the infrastructure of that is in pretty bad shape.
Okay.
And I know that firsthand because every time there's an electrical issue, whether it be citywide or located at the hospital, myself and personnel are at that hospital trying to help them get their generator running or trying to get power switched over to the generator off a 1950 switchgear that they're unable to find parts for.
So this is the thing.
Yeah, and that's fine, and that's what we're here for, is to educate everybody. But my experience, and I've been out there a lot, trying to assist the hospital themselves, the infrastructure of that old part of the hospital is in pretty bad shape. Not that they've not maintained it, it's just, it's such an old system. And so by condensing that hospital, we're getting new infrastructure, new building, getting rid of the old and the efficiency, oh my gosh. We're gonna see a savings on that.
Like I said, I just heard a lot of people griping, complaining about it. I'm like, okay, go to the meeting and find out what's really going
Well,
on.
that's right, and that's where you get educated, is right here.
That's
And
what I want.
I'm speaking from experience, and so I feel that's something we need to shoot for our community.
I'm up for it then.
David, go ahead.
I was just curious, who's going to conduct this meeting Monday night?
Well, I thought what we would do is I put together kind of a meeting agenda, and I'm gonna have some of the staff, like Greg talk, and then I'd love for you,
No.
anybody,
If you want me to, I could. but-
Okay.
I was just curious who's going to run the meeting, if somebody from the hospital from Stillwater would be here. I'm
Yes.
assuming that, but
Yes.
I was just curious.
Yeah, we will. I'll put together, an agenda so that we have people that are there answering questions and that type thing, for everybody. So, tell your friends and your family, people that need to know more information, please attend on Monday evening, because we will be prepared and we will be ready to answer all of your questions.
Peggy, you have.
Well, I woke up 6 or 7 months ago, and I was 80. And I didn't intend to do that, but I made it. A couple of weeks ago, I decided to have a case of food poisoning and kidney stones at the same time. And so I called my son, and we go to the hospital. I am almost certain that I could talk myself into dying willingly if I had to go to Ponca City. And I would like to say that the minute I walked in that hospital, I didn't walk in, the minute I got inside that hospital, the staff could not have been any better. I couldn't have asked for any better treatment. I couldn't have asked for them to take care of the situation. And 7 hours later, I walked out and got in the car and went home. But that hospital is absolutely a necessity for us when you need it. You don't always need it. I've paid taxes on stuff for years and I never did need it, particularly, except to have a kid or something. But now I'm older and I can see what a gym it is and what a gym it can be if we just take care of it and pass the tax and let it go ahead serving our community.
Well, and one other aspect that I'd like to bring up, today I went down to our I-35 corridor and I was driving around there, lots of activity. I thought, what in the world is going on? I went into Brahms, every seat was taken. McDonald's, all of the traffic all the way around. The good news is that everybody that comes to buy a hamburger here or a Coke here or whatever, they're throwing their penny in as well. And so, we're building right now. We've got a lot of activity in Blackwell. And so we're not the only ones that are going to be paying, this penny sales tax. It's everybody who comes into our city limits. And and that's well spent money, for it. So we definitely want you all to, yes, sir.
I'd like to thank you for that, Janet, and I'd like to thank you for the presentation that you've given. And I was at the first hospital meeting where I met you, and I thought the mayor did a fantastic job of presenting the facts. Some of the things that I think should be clarified, and I think you're doing it according to what you said, is I can't believe the people that still misunderstand that this is an extension of the tax. They all think it's a new tax. They also think that there's not going to be any doctors on staff. The emergency room is going to hell. I mean, there's a lot of questions that the people have, even after the first meeting, and a lot of stuff that's been on Facebook. Mayor, you're on there a lot. You need to make a really, really good presentation, maybe even a PowerPoint presentation, and you need to have microphones for the people that want to ask questions.
Right.
Because it's a large building, and you stand up there and you ask a question, nobody knows what you're saying, and then the mayor or you will answer it, but the people don't know what the question was.
We'll make sure that we clarify that, and I am working on getting more microphones. I've just not managed to make it happen yet. But you're bringing up some very good points. I'll make sure that the meeting covers everything that you just said. And, we have a first-class emergency room. I mean, I was in there today, and if I didn't know I was in Blackwell, I would think I was in Oklahoma City or Tulsa or somewhere like that. It has been very, very well done. And so we'll make sure that we're answering these questions on Monday. But thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Something that I may suggest is, when we passed a bond for the school, we had 3 or 5 cards that people could write questions on that was maybe not willing to get up and ask questions in front of the group, and maybe have cards available they could write a question on and give to whoever's speaking and answer them questions as well.
Yeah. Kathleen, did you have a question?
Well, not about the hospital, but about the proposed sales tax for hotel motel from 6% to 8%. I notice it says to provide for an additional purpose. What things do you have in mind to use that tax for?
The additional purpose is just capital improvements. If there's some kind of capital improvement that you could buy with that would further the purpose of convention and tourism, which is what the purpose of the original hotel tax is, and it's what it continues to be. So we put in a provision to allow for capital improvements to be bought, and then also the payment. Let's say you wanted to finance a stage, then it could also be used to pay the cost of the financing, because if you don't have that in there, you can't use that. But let's say you need a stage or microphones, or you need to put the soft things up on the wall to dull the sound because you're going to have concerts in there or something. We think it will raise $70,000 more. Now we did change the question. It is different than the last time we presented it, because the last time we presented it, we closed a loophole, and the loophole was that if you were the crew and you booked the room for more than 30 days, you don't have to pay the motel tax. And that's something near and dear, apparently, to the motel tax owner's heart, because sometimes they lease their motels more like an apartment would, because they don't have the individual days. And so we closed that loophole the last time. And this time we did not close the loophole. They will be able to continue to do that without having to pay the motel tax, which is bad for us, but it's good for them. And, you know, we tried to, in this proposition, have some compromise. As far as other communities that have an 8% rate, to make sure we're not, you know, over anyone, Ponca has one, Perry has one, Enid has one, they're all at 8%. And because I represent Winoka, Winoka has one. I mean, they raised one there. There's probably other communities that have an 8%, but those would be the one. Ponca, Enid, Perry, that's pretty much, you know, the larger cities around you.
And as we were looking at putting this together and bringing it back to the people again, I'll tell you what was important to me, and that was that we do the same thing that the surrounding communities around us do. And so this moving from 6 to 8% is exactly what Ponca City and all of those do. And so it puts us exactly the same place, and it doesn't send our potential customers away because, you know, not to convolute this, but, you know, to Bryce's point, by taking out the loophole that they did the last election, you know, what they were doing was saying, no, you still have to continue paying this. And this time, you don't. We're you know, so there shouldn't be any issue with it because it just allows us to have the same as everybody around us, and that's all that we're doing on that.
This tax will not affect your pocketbook whatsoever. Only the people that come in here, stay the night, and then head on down the road. So the last time that we tried to do this, we didn't do a very good job of advertising that information. So what we would like you all to do tonight is make sure that you call all your friends, talk to your neighbors, and make sure they're there on Monday the 25th at 6 p.m. so they can hear the same thing you hear tonight, plus ask their questions so that they will understand everything that we've explained to you. Are there any other questions?
If there's no other discussion, we can move on. Ready? Okay. Move on to item I, is discussion on the OML training to take place at City Hall and the City Chambers on Tuesday, March 26th, from 2 to 4 for the council, and from 5:30 to 7 for all other boards and commissions of the city.
I just wanted to bring this up because I know that a lot of the board members from our other, you know, commissions and boards do attend our council meetings. And all of you, by this point, should have received numerous emails just reminding you to register for that. It's going to be you know, the Oklahoma Municipal League will come in. They will go over a lot of different requirements, you know, that we have for Open Meeting Act, for even probably some open record questions. The council during our time that we're going to meet will actually be going over something that Bryce and I were working on today, and that's rules and procedures. And so annually, what the council should be doing, and we'll start doing now, is that they will adopt a way that we conduct our meetings. And so what we'd like to do is have an official way for the residents to be able to speak on subjects, that they can be you know, noticed by the mayor, called upon by the mayor, and then you can come up and then you can present. So all of those things, we'll be getting those in place. For the other meeting, from 5:30 to 7 for our other boards, you know, our library board, museum board, you know, tourism board, all of those will come together. And, you know, this puts us in compliance with the requirements of how we conduct our meetings. And, you know, that's just very important. And, you know, it brings us another level of professionalism. And so I think it'll be informational, plus it'll be nice to see everybody.
Any more discussion? Moving on then, item 10 is new business. Is there any new business?
Yes. If you want to do it, I can certainly do it.
Well, I'll just start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Today, Bryce and I met with representatives from Get Real Cable, who you know is a local company here, and it was time for us to work on our franchise agreement. And it was a very good meeting today. Brought up some items that we really needed to discuss and moving forward. So Bryce, I'll let you take over.
Yeah, just pointing at a few things, and this is just early, because we're gonna have a public hearing on this, and we're gonna solicit advice from the public on the franchise renewal. That's why we met. But, you know, a few things that we learned was that Get Real Cable has run fiber outside of all of our city buildings. So, and we talked about ways that we could connect to that fiber and immediately solve all of our communication problems. And in fact, you know, we've started that negotiation. It's going to be very, very, I think, good for us. What they have is they have a $50,000 security bond. It's a provision in our ordinance, and it guarantees performance with the terms of our ordinance, which incidentally is a really good ordinance. It was drafted back in 2009 by Robert Jernigan, a friend of mine, who did a great job on your cable ordinance. But the $50,000 security fund requires them to perform everything in accordance with the ordinance. Now that cable franchise is over on December 29th of this year, so there's only a few more months left. And they've been running into trouble with the ones that are shooting the internet and cable system through radio waves, microwaves, and it's been upsetting the local channels. And it's caused a great reduction in subscribers, and they've got that fixed, but they have to buy a $30,000 piece of equipment. Now, we want them to be successful because we don't make one nickel from any other company that provides cable TV. But Get Real Cable, we get a franchise fee, okay, and we get a pole rental fee. We don't get anything from anyone else. So all that the security fund does is it guarantees performance. In the 9.5 years that we had it in place, we've never assessed it, okay? But it costs about $50,000, and it's $50,000 worth of capital that is sitting there and not being used. And they need $30,000 of that to buy this thing to fix this local channel deal. Now, they're intending to give us that as a CD. Right now, it's just as a security bond that we would actually have. If we drop it from $50,000 to $20,000, then they would give us as a CD, and it would be conditioned to the performance of the franchise. Now you may ask, well, why would you do that? Well, one, it's been in place for more than 9 years and we've never assessed it. The security fund will still be in place, but it'll now be a CD, which is cash, and we can go cash it if we need it, which is better than what we have right now. It expires anyways on December 29th. The purchase of equipment will solve the local station glitch and may increase them customers, and thereby may increase us franchise fees. Here's a good reason. The fire department and police department's antennas are on their buildings, to which we have no right, and we're paying them no fee or cost right now. So, I mean, that's a really good reason. And they, of course, they said, we'll just keep them up there, but that is, and then the final thing is we're in the process of negotiating the franchise, and the public has much to gain with a successful renegotiation. Now, this constitutes no business because this matter was unknown to the city or could not have reasonably foreseen prior to posting the agenda. They have to either renew this bond like now, like this week, or not, and this to me is easy. Based on those reasons, those public purposes. But it's up to you because it's your ordinance and it's your deal. if you want to make the motion, that's at the bottom, and, oh, you didn't get the paper? I'm sorry, you're supposed to all get this paper. And we will provide this to you. It's amend the security fund currently set at $50,000 to $20,000 certificate of deposit to be delivered to the city as the owner of the certificate of deposit. And with such certificate of deposit conditioned upon Get Real Cable LLC's compliance with all the terms of Chapter 14, Article 4, entitled Cable Franchise of the Blackwell Municipal Code 2009, and further subject to assessment as provided by Section 14-118 for the reasons as set out here and above. And if you do pass it, I want all these reasons and this motion all placed in the agenda, because I think that's all important for us to note with the public purposes. So that's the item. And I will tell you, the negotiation went real well, and I'm real hopeful for a successful one. And I think that we're going to end up having some local partnerships that will really help our communication between our departments. So.
I'd like to say, and reiterate some things that Bryce said. We have a problem right now in the city with the past IT provider, our phone provider. Those things have just kind of fallen off the wagon, and we can't even get in touch with the people half the time. Get Real Cable has come in. We've talked to them. Kevin, our IT guy, has talked to them about our issues. The electric department has talked to them about the issues. Our public safety, we've had issues there, and they have heard what we've said, and without even entering into an agreement with us, they laid cable at substantial cost to them, to all of our departments in the city. And, if we had to do it ourselves, it would have cost a tremendous amount of money for infrastructure, which I would have had to come to the council to approve that. But now at this point, we don't even have to do that, because everything is to our departments right now. And as Bryce said, the $50,000 surety bond is somewhere out there that we've never even used it before. If we reduce that, to $20,000, they'll give the cash, we can put it in a bank, it'll be a CD drawing interest, and then that $30,000, they have access to that 30 now to fix the problem that they have currently with customers, just because of the other companies running their UHF and all of that, and I don't get that terminology right, but they're interfering with legitimate business who does pay us a franchise fee, and this $30,000 will help them fix that problem so that the customer complaints can go away. So, I would say that we're very much in support of this. And time is of the essence on this for them, because they have to either renew that bond within the next couple of days for $50,000, or, so time is of the essence on this.
Now, is this gonna be a contract?
Well, because it's our provision, yes, the answer to that's yes, and I've drafted that contract.
Okay.
And it's gonna be attached to the CD. I've already drafted it, I've given a copy to Tracy. I haven't given a copy to them, but in the meeting, we went over the term. And I would, if you wanna make the motion subject to, the provision of the $20,000 CD and the signing of the certificate of deposit agreement, because that's what it's called. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I've already drafted that.
You guys have that document, it's got some of that information on there.
Yes.
Right.
You guys want
I'm sorry, I didn't.
We need to read it as written.
Well,
Yeah.
Bryce has already read it.
Yeah, I already
so-
read it.
and
If you wanna
it
make
is
the
written.
motion that I stated.
Okay,
I mean, I
that'd be
think we're
fine.
good.
I'll make that motion.
And that's conditional upon them furnishing the CD, the attached CD, and the, and approval of the certificate of deposit agreement.
All right, Mary?
Greenfield,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
Balil,
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
All right. If there is no further new business, we'll adjourn meeting of Blackwell City Council and open meeting of Blackwell Municipal Authority. The first item on the agenda for Municipal Authority is the consent agenda. Any questions or discussions on those items?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mary?
Greenfield,
Aye.
Braden,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
Balil,
Aye.
Markler.
Aye.
Item 6, there is no business under item 6. So is there any new business on item 7? There being no business of the Blackwell Municipal Authority, I'll adjourn the meeting of the Blackwell Municipal Authority. Thank you, everybody, this evening.